They told you to be kind, to be fair, to always tell the truth. They said power comes to those who do the right thing, that honesty wins, that goodness is strength. But here's the part they left out. That story was never meant to empower you. It was meant to tame you. Because real power doesn't play by those rules. It never has. Behind every throne, every fortune, every empire, is a trail of decisions that would make most people uncomfortable. And Machiavelli saw it for what it was. He didn't write fairy tales. He wrote survival manuals. He wasn't cruel. He was honest, in a way most people can't stomach. This isn't about being nice. It's about not being naive. Because while you were taught to obey the rules, others were learning how to use them against you. This is not a lesson in morality. It's a lesson in reality. Welcome to the rule book you were never supposed to read. This is not a story about good versus evil. There are no heroes here, no saints, no saviors. If you're looking for a lesson about doing the right thing, you won't find it here. This isn't about virtue. It's about power. Raw, cold, unforgiving. Machiavelli didn't care about what should be. He looked at what is. And what he saw wasn't pretty. People lie. They cheat. They betray. Not because they're broken, but because it works. This isn't a call to become cruel. It's a warning not to be blind. The world doesn't reward innocence. It rewards strategy. It rewards perception. It rewards those who understand the game and are willing to play it. So if you're here for comfort, leave now. This isn't a morality tale. It's a mirror, and not everyone likes what they see. Forget everything you think you know about power. The handshakes, the smiles, the noble speeches. Strip all that away. And what's left? Control, influence, fear, loyalty, bought or broken. This isn't about playing fair. It's about playing smart. Machiavelli didn't write fairy tales. He wrote survival guides for rulers, for manipulators, for anyone bold enough to see the world as it is, not how they wish it to be. His words weren't cruel, they were clear. Win. Keep your throne. Use what works. Discard what doesn't. This is not philosophy for dreamers. It's a manual for realists. You're not just watching a video. You're opening a book most people are too scared to read. This is Machiavelli's playbook. Still open. Still in use. Still dangerous. They told you the world changed. That power is earned by being nice. By being fair. By being liked. They lied. The rules never changed. Only the language did. The same strategies still run behind the curtain. The same masks still hide the same hands pulling the strings. Manipulate perception. Control the narrative. Strike before you're struck. Make loyalty a weapon, not a virtue. You think those who rise are the most talented, the kindest, the most deserving? Number. They're the ones who understood the game early and never waited for permission to play it. The world still runs on Machiavelli's logic. Behind the HR slogans, beneath the polished smiles, under the surface of every boardroom, every campaign, every empire. It still works. You just weren't supposed to know it, but now you do. Machiavelli wasn't writing from theory. He was writing from the wreckage. 15th century Italy wasn't a country. It was a battlefield wearing a crown. City-states at war. Families turning on each other. Alliances formed in the morning, betrayed by nightfall. Assassins, spies, backroom deals. This was politics. There were no rules, only outcomes. And in that chaos, Machiavelli saw something most people still don't. Power doesn't come to the noble. It comes to the bold. He watched as kind men were crushed under their own honor, as moral leaders were outplayed by merciless ones. He saw that being good wasn't just useless. It was dangerous. So he wrote a guide, not for saints, but for survivors. A blueprint for navigating a world where mercy was weakness, where image mattered more than intent, and where control wasn't asked for. It was taken. This was the world Machiavelli saw, and it's closer to ours than we'd like to admit. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince from a throne. He wrote it from exile, disgraced, tortured, cast out by the very people he once served. He wasn't dreaming about power. He was clawing for a way back into it. For years, he'd been a trusted advisor, a man in the room where decisions were made. But power shifted, and when the ruling family fell, Machiavelli fell with them. No trial, no mercy, just chains. When they finally let him go, he had nothing left, no title, no allies, no influence. So he wrote, not to entertain, not to inspire, but to survive. The Prince was a gift to power, a ruthless manual designed to catch the attention of the next ruler. A way to prove that he still understood the game, maybe better than anyone. Every sentence is laced with desperation, not weakness, clarity. He wasn't trying to build a perfect world. He was revealing the one we already live in. And for those willing to see it, he offered something rare. An unfiltered look at how power actually works. Machiavelli wasn't an idealist. He didn't waste time dreaming about how things should be. He paid attention to how they are. He watched noble men fall for playing fair. He saw liars rise. He saw violence rewarded, loyalty punished, and manipulation crowned. So he stopped pretending. He stripped the mask off politics, leadership, even human nature. The Prince isn't a book of what's right. It's a cold mirror of what's real. He studied successful rulers, not the ones remembered fondly, but the ones who won, the ones who seized power, held it, and bent the world to their will. Not by kindness, not by virtue, but by strategy. Machiavelli wasn't teaching you how to be good. He was showing you how to be effective. He knew that in the real world, results speak louder than morals. And those who hesitate, waiting for things to be fair, usually end up crushed by those who don't. So no, he didn't write theories. He recorded patterns. He told the truth nobody wanted to admit. And centuries later, the game still plays out the same way. Machiavelli's most dangerous idea wasn't about cruelty, it was about image. He said, you don't need to be good, you just need to look like it. Because people judge with their eyes, not with their minds. They believe what they see, not what's real. So wear the mask, smile, speak of justice, loyalty, compassion. Let them think you're noble. But behind that mask, be calculating, be sharp, be ready to do what needs to be done. Because real power isn't clean. It's not earned by playing nice. It's taken by those willing to cross lines, quietly, strategically, and without flinching. If you want to survive, lead, dominate, then morality is a tool, not a rule. Use it when it works. Drop it when it doesn't. To the crowd, appear generous. Behind closed doors, protect your throne. To your allies, appear loyal. But never forget who might betray you first. It's not about being a monster. It's about not being naive. The world doesn't reward the pure. It rewards the smart, and the smart know when to act kind and when to strike. People don't follow truth. They follow the version of truth that looks right. In public life, perception isn't just important, it is reality. You can be wise, competent, even noble. But if you look weak, hesitant, or unsure, you'll be dismissed. Machiavelli knew this. He watched leaders fail not because they were wrong, but because they looked wrong. Because the crowd doesn't dig deep. They don't analyze. They glance, they judge, they move on. A confident lie will always beat a timid truth. So if you want to influence, lead, or survive the game, you must master appearances. Confidence matters more than content. Charisma trumps integrity. A powerful image silences 1,000 facts. You can be ruthless as long as you look righteous. You can be manipulative as long as you smile. This isn't cynicism, it's realism. And those who ignore it usually serve those who don't. So Machiavelli's rule stands. Appear just, even when you're not. Because in the eyes of the world, the mask is what matters. Your reputation walks into the room before you do. It speaks louder than your words, shapes expectations, and bends outcomes in your favor or against you. In the game of power, reputation isn't just image. It's leverage. A ruthless man feared is harder to betray. A generous leader admired is harder to oppose. Reputation becomes your silent weapon, striking deals, disarming enemies, and winning loyalty before a single move is made. And what about the mask? The facade? That's your armor. It keeps your true intentions hidden. It lets you navigate chaos without exposing your weakness. While others bleed from being too open, you survive by being unreadable. Machiavelli understood. The world doesn't reward honesty, it rewards strategy. Be whoever you need to be on the surface, so you can do what must be done beneath it. Because once your true self is exposed, you're vulnerable. But behind a crafted image, you're untouchable. This isn't deceit, it's defense. And in a world where power is currency, your reputation is your sword, your facade, your shield. So choose them carefully, and never let anyone see you unarmed. If you must choose, be feared. That was Machiavelli's advice. Not because he hated love, but because he understood people. Love is soft, it's hopeful, idealistic. But it fades. It depends on mood, memory, and mutual benefit. Fear stays. Fear doesn't need to be fair, or kind, or earned. It just needs to exist. People may love you today and forget you tomorrow. But if they fear crossing you, they'll think twice. And that hesitation is power. This isn't cruelty, it's clarity. Power isn't built on how people feel about you. It's built on how carefully they move around you. You don't have to be a tyrant. You don't have to inspire terror. You just need to be a person whose line you don't cross. Because fear doesn't ask for affection, it demands respect. Machiavelli saw it clearly. Love is a gift. Fear is a tool. And in a world where power decides fate, you can't afford to rely on what's fleeting. You must choose what lasts. Loyalty sounds noble, but in practice, it's fragile. People say they're loyal until pressure hits, until a better offer comes, until staying loyal becomes inconvenient. It's not because they're evil, it's because they're human. Emotions change, priorities shift. What once felt like loyalty can dissolve in a moment. And that's the danger of building power on promises. You end up depending on feelings you can't control. But fear doesn't waver. It doesn't need to be remembered or returned. It plants itself in the mind and stays. Where loyalty asks, fear commands. Where loyalty hopes, fear ensures. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to earn it every day. Fear builds compliance silently, without needing applause, affection, or approval. That's what Machiavelli saw in the real world. Power isn't about being liked. It's about being obeyed, even when no one's watching, because loyalty can be betrayed. But fear is harder to betray. And in the cold calculus of survival, that makes all the difference. Power isn't just about force, it's about framing. Because people don't respond to reality. They respond to the story they're told about it. And the one who tells the story holds the power. Machiavelli knew this. Wars weren't just won with swords. They were won with rumors, with declarations, with carefully shaped images. If people see you as strong, you don't have to prove it. If they believe you're right, you don't need to explain. If they fear crossing you, most never will. Control how they see you, and you shape how they treat you. This is why leaders spin, why rulers rewrite history, why the powerful always have a mouthpiece. Because truth is negotiable, but perception sticks. Own the narrative, and you own the room, the boardroom, the battlefield, the crowd. You don't need to silence every critic, just make your version louder, cleaner, simpler to believe. People don't follow reality. They follow stories. So make sure you're the one telling them. Look closely. People don't follow strength, they don't follow truth. They follow the story they believe in. A leader is just a symbol. What matters is the myth around them. It's not the crown that holds power. It's what the crown represents. Security, glory, hope, fear. People follow the general who promises victory, even if he's never won a war. They follow the politician who tells them what they want to hear, even if none of it is real. Machiavelli saw this clearly. He knew, if you can give people a story that comforts their fears, confirms their beliefs, and flatters their pride, they'll follow you anywhere, even off a cliff. Because in the end, we don't crave leaders. We crave meaning, and whoever offers it wins. So if you want power, don't just act like a leader. Craft the story that makes people need you to lead. That's what they'll follow. To Machiavelli, power wasn't about fairness. It was about survival. He didn't see manipulation as wicked. He saw it as a tool, like fire or a blade. Dangerous, yes, but necessary if you want to shape the world. The truth is, people aren't moved by facts. They're moved by emotion, image, and belief. So if you want influence, you can't just speak truth. You have to frame it, control the angle, bend perception, guide their feelings before they notice. Machiavelli knew. The game is rigged for those who play behind the curtain, the ones who smile in public while pulling strings in silence. It's not about being cruel. It's about being effective. The world is not a courtroom. It's a chessboard. And if you refuse to manipulate, someone else will, and they'll win. In the world Machiavelli saw, morality was a story told by the powerless to make sense of their defeat. He didn't romanticize ethics. He studied outcomes. Because when survival is on the line, you don't ask what's right, you ask what works. Kings weren't crowned because they were kind. Empires didn't rise on good intentions. They rose on strategy, force, and the willingness to do what others wouldn't. Machiavelli's truth was brutal. If you want power, you must be willing to get your hands dirty. The noble path? It's beautiful, but it's often walked by those who never make it to the throne. So when the stakes are high, when the game is real, you must choose. Principles that feel good or results that change your life. Morals are easy when you have nothing to lose. But power? Power asks for sacrifice. And often, it starts with letting go of who you thought you had to be. Look closely at the world. You'll notice something unsettling. The ones at the top, they don't always play fair. They play to win. While you were taught to be nice, they were learning how to win negotiations, how to twist perception, how to strike without warning. Society dresses this up. It wraps power in polite words: leadership, responsibility, integrity. But behind the curtain, it's a different story. The powerful are not ruled by what's right. They're ruled by what works. They smile in public, but pull strings in private. They speak of peace while funding the conflict. They make promises, but only keep the ones that serve them. And when they break the rules, they rewrite them. It's not that they don't know right from wrong. It's that they don't let it stop them, because results are what history remembers, not good intentions, not moral speeches. Just power, and the ones who dared to take it. A half-finished war is not peace. It's a countdown. Machiavelli didn't believe in mercy for enemies. Not because he was cruel, but because he understood human nature. A wounded enemy doesn't forget. They wait. They gather strength. They remember exactly who left them breathing. A grudge is a quiet weapon, one that grows sharper with time. That's why Machiavelli warned, never wound what you cannot kill. If you let them walk away, you're not being noble. You're planting a seed, and one day it will grow into revenge. Power doesn't last if you leave threats behind. A partial victory isn't victory. It's an open wound, and open wounds get infected. So he wrote it plainly. If you must strike, make it final. Not out of hate, but out of strategy. Because in the game of power, mercy to the wrong person is just a delay before your own downfall. Weakness doesn't always look like fear. Sometimes it looks like hesitation, compromise, a half step when a full strike was needed. Machiavelli saw it clearly. Half measures don't keep the peace. They invite retaliation. When you hurt someone just enough to anger them, but not enough to stop them, you create your own enemy. They won't forget. They'll regroup. And they'll come back harder, because now they have something to prove. In the arena of power, you don't get points for fairness. You get safety through certainty. Total dominance doesn't mean violence. It means clarity. No loose ends. No question about who holds control. Finish what you start, or prepare to be finished by it. Because when the fight isn't over, it's only waiting for round 2. You weren't taught Machiavelli in school to follow him. You were taught him so you'd dismiss him. So you'd think, that was then. We've evolved. But power doesn't vanish. It adapts. It learns how to hide. Today, the sword is replaced by silence. The throne by influence. The fear? Still there, but dressed in smiles and HR emails. Modern power doesn't need to shout. It whispers through algorithms, steers opinion through headlines, shapes behavior without force. The same rules, just cleaner suits. Appear kind, control the story, strike quietly, deny everything. This isn't ancient history. It's your office, your feed, your world. Machiavelli didn't go extinct. He just learned to blend in. You're not ruled by monarchs anymore. You're ruled by narratives, by faces on screens, by polished smiles behind podiums. The new princes don't need armies. They have influence, access, leverage. They don't conquer nations. They buy them. They don't demand loyalty. They manufacture it. They sit in boardrooms, not castles. Their crowns are logos. Their weapons, information, timing, control. This isn't a new game. It's the same rulebook with a modern wardrobe. Because power didn't disappear. It just got better at pretending. Some truths don't comfort, they confront. And once seen, they can't be unseen. This wasn't a bedtime story. It was a mirror held up to power, and to you. Some will walk away, disturbed. Some will deny it, call it cynical. And some, a few, will take it, sharpen it, and use it. Because this isn't a guide for everyone. It's a map for those who've stopped pretending the world plays fair. Power doesn't ask for permission. It only asks, now that you know, what will you do? But once you see how power really works, you can't go back. The illusion breaks. The stories you were told about fairness, goodness, order, they don't hold the same weight anymore. Because now you see the board, the players, the moves, and whether you like it or not, you're on that board too. The only question is, are you the piece being moved, or the one moving the pieces? If this made you pause, made you question something you never questioned before, then this channel was made for you. Subscribe to the Thought Foundry, where we don't give answers. We sharpen questions. And if you know someone who's still asleep to how the world really works, send this their way. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it.